Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Carly Stevens. I'm a teacher and author, and this is English Nerd. So it is winter time, I guess. It's not as cold as it normally would be, but holidays are in full swing as I record this. It's right after Thanksgiving, and Christmas is coming up, New Year's, and all of that stuff. So I thought I'd bring you another slew of classics recommendations based on the season. So here are some winter classics. Now, you can take that in a lot of different directions, of course. So I'm going to give you a smorgasbord of options, and whatever appeals to you, you just go for it. I kind of doubt that every one of these is going to appeal to everyone, but I have read all of these front to back and can vouch for just the general impressiveness of them and fittingness for the winter season. So in no particular order, let's get started. The very first recommendation I have is a Middle English poem called Sir Gawain or Sir Gawain, some people pronounce it that way, and the Green Knight. This is essentially a Christmas story. It takes place around Christmas time while King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table and Guinevere and everyone are feasting, when Arthur is a young king who's untried, and then into the midst of their feast rides this enormous Green Knight who challenges them to a quote-unquote Christmas game, but the whole thing ends up being kind of messed up, kind of adventurous. It turns into this, just classic Arthurian legend. So yeah, I would definitely recommend, if you have not read Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, that you give it a try. It's very accessible, and you can get some good translations of that. Okay, maybe you're not feeling Middle English poetry. I hear you. That's fine. I'm not always in the mood for Middle English poetry, although that one is very good. It's a hoot. The second winter book that I would recommend, and I hope this wasn't on my fall recommendations, but it might have been because it's good for both, The Wind and the Willows by Kenneth Grahame. I've shown this book on my channel before because I am in love with these illustrations. Inga Moore just absolutely knocks it out of the park with the beautiful way she illustrates these pictures. So let me just find the one that I need for winter. Yep, that's the one. Look, they're caroling outside of Mole's house. I can't. It's the cutest. So if you're looking for something that is just really cozy, literally it feels like you have a cup of hot cocoa in your hand and you're snuggling up to the fire. It just is a feel-good story that is honestly great. I've gone back and reread portions of it as an adult. In fact, the first time I read it was when I was 20 or 21. So, I didn't read it as a child, but I've read it as somebody older, and it is, I can't speak highly enough about it. It's the cutest thing in the world. Okay, so maybe that's not your thing. Once again, that's fine. Winter classics, that can mean a lot of different things. We have the cozy, we have the Christmas Arthurian legend. Let's go in a new direction. Let's go heavy with some Dostoevsky. Winter seems like the perfect time to dive into one of these massive books and really knock out one of your, bucket list books. And for me, my bucket list massive classics, I kind of pick and choose. Like War and Peace, I've said on this channel before, is not on my list. It doesn't interest me all that much. I could be wrong, but it's not been one of those that I feel like picking up. Brothers Karamazov, on the other hand, is an absolute brick, and it is brilliant and dark. It's basically a philosophical murder mystery, but it's so much more than that. It's just this character study into these brothers. It's really something that you need to sit and sink your teeth into and digest in pieces. And so, winter, when it's cold, maybe you're not going out as much, seems like a good time to tackle that. If you want to try some Dostoevsky that is wintry feeling, but is not, Brothers K, then I would go with Notes from Underground. It's split up into two sections. The first part is all philosophical. The second part is how those things, how his philosophy plays out. And the second half is called Apropos of the Wet Snow. So there is a wintry, it's not wintry in a cozy sense, it's more wintry in a, oh, let's go through this frozen sludge sense that you get with a lot of Russian authors. But this small book by Dostoevsky is one of my favorites by him. My top works by him are Crime and Punishment, Brothers K, and Notes from Underground. So, you could try that. Okay, let's stick with some kind of intense Russian stuff with One Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich by Alexander Solzhenitsyn. This one is more modern than Dostoevsky. Dostoevsky lived in the 1800s. Solzhenitsyn just passed away in 2008, there we go. Like, it's not 2018. 2008, so he is much more contemporary to us. The reason that I included this one in the winter classics is that it's about a bunch of men at a work camp that have to fight through the freezing temperatures, and this is a book for somebody who does not want to be going to work in the winter, but who has to go to work or school in the winter. And this book is very plainly written, and it shows how you can still find some level of contentment and humanity even in the midst of a situation like that where you're forced to work in the cold and endure these really grueling conditions. So yeah, it's there's a kind of subversive hope just threaded through this story. Okay, so you're probably, many of you out there, if you're not into the philosophical Russian authors, are thinking, well, what about the cozy, where are those cozy books? Okay, I'm back with the cozy books. The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. I do not read this book in the summertime. I do not read this book in the springtime. It's fall and winter or nothing. It has to be cold outside. I don't make the rules. It's just how it is. There's something, again, about losing yourself in this immersive world that just doesn't hit the same way when you're reading it when it's nicer outside. So yeah, if you have not read Lord of the Rings and you've thought about it for a long time, maybe now's the time to give it a chance and see what it is that everybody is raving about, what it is that makes me have the banners behind me in all of my videos. So yeah, Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. He is unbeaten in the fantasy realm. Yeah, it feels like a real place, Middle Earth. All right, and then I'm gonna end with a couple of Christmas book recommendations, Christmas classics. Obviously, could not have this list without having A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. A lot of people don't know that he wrote other Christmas books as well. He wrote other Christmas ghost stories specifically. So if you're interested in that, you can take a look at some of his further works. I'm not as familiar with his other Christmas ghost stories, but I know that there are quite a few out there that you can find. But A Christmas Carol is a classic. I always hear Gonzo and Rizzo's voice as it's being read out. This is my favorite version of this classic. It's illustrated by P.J. Lynch, who's somebody that I've seen illustrate quite a few classics, but these illustrations are absolutely lovely. Just these paintings that are almost Alan Lee-like, maybe not so pointy, but just a lot of detail and atmosphere to them. And then one more, and that's it for this list, and that is a short story, but one of my favorites, The Gift of the Magi by O. Henry. And once again, I have an illustrated edition because I am a sucker for art, I guess, bookish art. It's just absolutely lovely. This story is one that makes me tear up. If you've been around the channel, you might know that this is a story that just gets me. Oh, this is illustrated by P.J. Lynch as well. I just realized, no wonder the style looked familiar. I've literally seen the style in two of these books. But yeah, it's a short story about this young couple who are in love and they want to get each other a nice Christmas gift, but they just have no money at all. They just got married, they're just getting settled, and so they end up making these big sacrifices for one another. And it's just a really beautiful story, and obviously a quick read. This is in the kids section, of the store. All right, so lots of options, lots of directions to take your winter classic reading this year if that is what you want to do. So don't forget, you can still order Laertes, both the regular and the special edition, or the audiobook, or really any format at all retailers that you normally buy books. So it's a Hamlet retelling. It's not technically a classic, but this one is nice and wintry and cozy as well. So like this video if you like it, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification button so that you can get all of the English nerdy goodness, and add your own recommendations for wintry classics, ones that just either you feel like you have to read in the winter, or ones that make you feel all cozy when it's snowing, all of that kind of thing. All right, until next time, bye.